Welcome to the Business of You podcast, the show dedicated to helping service entrepreneurs build a better brand to grow a bigger business. I'm your host, Michelle Griffin, and I'm here each week empowering you to put yourself out there, sharing actionable tips and inspiring stories so you can create your personal brand, grow your dream business, and build your future, all while making more income and more impact doing exactly what you love. I'm super excited you're here. Now let's get going with today's show. Welcome everybody to today's show. I'm super excited to have you here in the Business View podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Griffin. Super excited to get into a topic that I just started getting interested in, and it has so much potential for you and your business and your personal brands. I have brought the master on himself, Mr. Ed Troxell, to tell us all about live stream video marketing to grow your personal brand. Welcome, Ed, to the show. How are you?
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I am so happy to be here, and this is exciting. I can't wait for us to dive into this conversation.
Yeah, me too, because little backstory, Ed and I met, of all places, LinkedIn, where I meet most of the people I think are incredible subject matter experts. And he was a guest speaker on the Personal Branding Mastery Clubhouse room I've had since January, gave a phenomenal presentation on live stream. And we were just taking notes. I knew I had to bring him back to tell us more about live streaming. So Ed, for those who don't really know you yet as well as I do, can you give us a little synopsis of what you do and why you're doing live streaming?
Yeah, definitely. So most people have known me for making tech stupid easy, which is something I continue to do. But what I really love being able to do for clients is being able to make video marketing simple, really breaking the technology down and using video, specifically live video, to really showcase who you are and bring more of your personality to your business online so that people get to know and trust you a whole lot quicker and makes it so much easier for you to connect with others.
Oh yeah. And I'll be honest, that's why I mentioned I'm really starting to love live stream video over video, because tell us exactly though what live stream video, live video marketing is, and what are the advantages of what I was going to say, recorded video. Tell us about that, please.
Great question. I love where you were going with the fact that you chose live video over video, because there is a difference. When you're thinking about video, you automatically think of picking up your camera and recording something. And most of us think about that process being very daunting because it's an all-day event. From what we've known from the history, it takes a whole day to record something, and you have to have the perfect hair and makeup and clothes and lighting and probably a team to help support you with all of that. It's a lot of time, money, energy, and just a lot of work. That could still be the case for some in certain situations, but that's no longer the case today. And what that means for all of us is that we don't have to hide behind the camera anymore and wait for that perfect moment. We actually can use what's called live streaming video. So think about Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, Instagram Live, YouTube Live. Every major platform, social network, I should say, has live streaming video. And that is allowing all of us to pick up our device and go live in front of a live audience, whether you're just starting out and you have 0 people watching, or you have been in the game for a long time and you have hundreds of people watching. It doesn't matter. It allows you to connect with your audience in real time versus pre-recorded. And what I love about live is that you don't have to have everything picture perfect. It removes all of those layers of having everything perfect and allows you to just be you in front of the camera.
Oh, I remember that. Well, you made that point in the Clubhouse talk about a month ago. You said, I remember the words, you keep it real and relatable. And that's so true, because everyone's scared or they feel like they don't look their best on camera. The beauty about live streaming is you don't see yourself, right? You might a little bit, but you're not, it's in real time. You're just talking. You're not studying yourself like, oh, my hands look stupid, or I said this wrong. When you do a video and you have to look at it, for some people it's painful and it's a learning curve, but this is in the moment. You don't have time to think, oh gosh, my hair looks out of place. It's in the moment. I love that. It takes the stress off bottom line, for me at least. What about you and your
Yes,
clients?
100%. Like anything new, it's scary. That's something that we have to always make sure that we address. That's something that I love working with clients on first. Most people want to jump to the technology piece. It's my job to have us take a step back. We'll get there, but I want us to first start with what's going on in our head. Like, what are those feelings? What are those thoughts? We have to address those first. And when you talk about video, let alone live video, you have to understand that there's something that you have to first shift in your mindset in order to get more comfortable in front of the camera. And then from there, yes, you get to remove those layers of stress of not having to be perfect. People don't want your live streams to be perfect. And it allows you to really just show up as yourself and engage with your content and your audience and get that message out there. Share your voice. And that's the beauty of live streaming. And it's also something that we have to remember, that live streaming is actually a lot easier than pre-recorded, not only for removing the perfectionist part of things, but also because it allows us to just do one action with one take and be done with it. True. We don't have to sit there and retake every single time. And 40 takes later, we think, okay, this is done. I'm done. Just put that out there and I'm never doing video again. No, that's the old way. We don't have to worry about that anymore. And that's why I love live video. It's just, you do it, you go, and in our brains, we have that survival mode that kicks in. And we just know we're going for it. Whatever happens, happens, and we're going to make it work.
Yeah, it's the perfect combination of all that. And then you can still have the recording. So it's not like it is a one take thing, but then you can take that recording and still use it like you would. And so I know there's some things we're going to get into, like the tactical things, first steps, best practices. But before we do that, the point you made, which is so important, when people are like, well, I want to do live streaming, but I just started getting my personal brand growing, you addressed so well, either if you're just starting out or been in the game. Now, the only problem is there's certain platforms that aren't as user-friendly to get started. Facebook, sure. Instagram, sure, start. But I think YouTube and LinkedIn, I think YouTube, you have to have 100 followers or subscribers. And then we all know LinkedIn Live, you got to apply for it. And no one knows the rhyme or reason to get approved, as you and I know so well. And I'm going to put in the show notes the URL to the LinkedIn Live application, because I always encourage people, if that's something they want to do, and your audience is on LinkedIn, where most of this audience and listeners are, is LinkedIn. Real quick, because I'm going to be starting my LinkedIn Live, the sister show of this. What are some of the things you're seeing on LinkedIn Live that are good and bad, and what would you recommend or foresee changing and being really phenomenal on that platform?
Yeah, well, I think that with LinkedIn Live, as you said, it's an application only currently. We don't really know what the requirements are for their approval, but what's interesting is that those who haven't yet applied, or maybe you're still waiting to get approved, this is a perfect time to get in at the ground level. Yes, live streaming has been around for years on all these other platforms, and you can watch these live streams, which chances are all of you listening have probably watched at least one live stream on some platform. You can take that and start doing your research. How do you want your live to look? What do you want to include in there? What do you not want to include in there? You know, when I first started out, when everything was just coming out, we started with Periscope as the original live streaming. It was one of those things where I knew that I had to step in front of the camera and be the face of my business in order to survive online. And I knew that that was the only way I could market myself differently. But I didn't know at the time how to get comfortable with that and how to do that. So I went ahead and researched the shows that were out there, not live streaming shows, because at the time there was none, but TV shows, talk shows, podcasts. You have everything at your fingertips. You can look at those with a different perspective now and ask yourself, what do you like and what do you not like? And then make those notes so that you can start adding that to your live streams once you start doing it, which will happen after you listen to this episode, of course.
Yes. And I do remember going back to your last month's talk, we talked about making this like a TV show, like episode, a season, having a branded look, a name, the characters, something, a takeaway for each show, a purpose. And I'm starting to see mine's going to be branded with this. And that's what I encourage people to do. Make it, don't just throw it up live. I mean, you can, no question, but to take it up a notch, it's super easy to some degree to brand it with some graphics and ideas. Any more suggestions on making it more of a branded feel?
Yeah, it's exactly that. That's what I teach my clients is how to create a show. Now, most people these days are thinking podcast, right? Everyone wants to have a podcast, and that's still a show format. And again, for me, what I like to do is I like to have us take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Okay, you have your business, you know what you're an expert in, and now you want to go and create a podcast show. But what if we take a step back, look at the bigger picture, and make the process a whole lot easier and create a live show, which can then be repurposed as your podcast. Therefore, you have one show that is interactive, both in a live streaming format with video and audio, and then as well as just audio. And then, yes, you have your show name, you have your branded colors, you can make it as fun as you want. There's so many ways that you can go about creating your show, but that is what I have found to be the easiest and fun way for any business owner to be able to take on podcasting and live streaming video and really just online marketing in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really brilliant. Getting double exposure with less work. And honestly, this show, this podcast, the Business of You podcast we're talking on here, its sister show is added as a LinkedIn Live just to get it out there. But I'm realizing it's a lot of work to do both. I still plan to take the material from there and make it a podcast, but I think I'm just going down the road to save time. I'm going to do that. There's a nuance to master because there's some things where when you're on live, you talk to the people in comments, you're going to have to have a whole plan to do it so it's relevant for audio.
Yeah. And that goes back to what I mentioned is the mindset. Again, start where you are and experience everything. I first started with live streaming, and then I created not only my live show, but I also created a podcast show, two separate things. It wasn't until over time I realized, why am I not just combining the two so that I have just one show to focus on? And so it's that mindset and having someone come in and let you know, hey, you can do this in one fell swoop, but there is a structure just like anything. And so it's my job to help you understand the big picture and know what to do before, during, and after a live broadcast, because anybody can go live. You just pick up your device and hit a button. But if you want to be more strategic, you have to know the work that's going to go into it and know what happens in all three of those stages.
Oh, yeah, I agree. And that's something you work directly with your clients and your programs, right?
Yes, yeah.
100%.
We work on creating the show format and how to break things up into a season, and really knowing from mindset to content creation to the tech, and then what to do with that video after, because that's always a challenge is, okay, I went live, I put it out there, but now what? And it's like, it can still live on and we can still work with that one piece of content. It's really going from A to Z on that.
No, that's really smart. And one thing I recommend to people, and I'll be doing too, is house it on your website and maybe something like YouTube, because honestly,
Yes.
it's hard to find those LinkedIn, unless you put them on your company page too, or your personal profile company page. It's hard to find those LinkedIn live shows after. I mean, they're buried. And that's one of the problems with LinkedIn and finding content in general. Where do people find your posts? They don't make it too easy. You definitely want to take it. Where else would you recommend? Did I hit all the places, or are there other places to house it later?
No, those are amazing spots. And I want everyone to think of it this way, is that don't get overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, I have to be on all these networks and post it on all these places. Instead, take a step back and think about what tool, in this case, what social network are you going to use as your content creation tool? A lot of us might be using a program called Canva as our creation tool for designing our flyers, our social media posts, and maybe even scheduling our posts now. So that's your creation tool. Well, now that we're talking about video, what's going to be your live streaming video creation tool? What platform are you going to start on and create that live stream? Use that as your starting point. And then when you're ready, start to move that video to other places. If you have that capacity, maybe you don't have a team that can do it for you, so you're doing all of the work. Don't stress out about trying to put it on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube all at once. Pick one other spot and start putting it there. And then slowly you'll get into a rhythm of, oh, it only takes me a couple minutes to put it on, let's say Facebook. Now I'm going to start putting on my website. Because once you do, then you start picking up that momentum and things start happening. And website is key to have video on these days, especially because over 97% of people are going to be looking you up and researching you before they ever contact you. These days, it's probably like 99% given the pandemic and everything, but well over 97% of consumers are going to be looking you up, checking your Facebook, checking your LinkedIn, checking your Instagram, whatever social you have, and your website. And it's very, very important to not only have your website updated, but have some video on there, especially if there's a landing page, because with landing pages that have a video on it, have a higher conversion rate, over 80% for that. Really keep it in mind that video is key.
Definitely. There's a software a friend of mine recommended I haven't used. It's called repurpose.io. Are you familiar with it? Do you use it, recommend it? Okay.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And that's the thing. There's different tools out there that can help you for different goals that you have. And the way I like to look at technology, because most of us look at it as, oh, these are just devices, right? It's just another thing that we carry around or that we're using, and it's too techy. We don't understand it. We don't get it. Another part of my job is helping you have a better relationship with your technology. And what I mean by that is that your phone is no longer a phone. It's your personal assistant. It's your best friend. It's the person that is there with you every step of the way, taking the photos for you, recording your videos for you. We have to shift how we look at our technology and really understand that these are devices that are helping us. And so we got to give them names, for example. I always encourage people to give their phone a name, because Apple's done it, Google's done it. They're humanizing all of the AI, the artificial intelligence. Why aren't we starting to do that now? So think of your devices more as a human and somebody who's helping you. And then if it helps, give them a name. So then it makes it more fun too.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. I had never thought about that. But yeah, so the point there is there's so many tech tools to help us, and they're getting easier and cheaper and sometimes even free to get you just started and comfortable and used to it. So wonderful tactical things. Now, real quick before we jump into your the top three list, what are the quick common mistakes you see people making when they do live stream video?
First one is not starting.
That's a big one.
Like, you can say that you're going to do it, but if you're not doing it, that's the big first mistake there. And then really comes down to thinking that you have to have all of the fancy equipment, the $200 microphone, the lighting kit, the perfect background. No, cut it all out. You have exactly what you need. You have your phone, and if you really need it, you have your earbuds that came with your phone. So that's really all you need to get started. Those are really the big ones that a lot of people will get held up on. The other one, which is more of the mindset, is self-doubt. No one's going to listen to me. Who's going to show up? Listen, at the end of the day, let's remove all of that in one fell swoop. Expect no one to show up to your live broadcasts. Let that sit in for a second. I did say, expect no one to show up. Do the work and expect no one to show up.
Why is that? Why would you say that?
It helps remove that stress. Okay. We're so worried about who's going to show up, how many numbers we're going to get, how many views, how many likes, how many shares, is anybody commenting? We get so stressed out before we even hit the go live button. How are we supposed to be on camera? We're going to be frozen and stressed out. My suggestion is expect no one to show up. That removes the layer of stress. And then it puts us in a positive energy place, because once we go live, we're thinking about our topic and we're giving away our talking points. And when we're in that live broadcast, if someone shows up or when someone shows up, you get excited. It's like, oh, somebody's here. Awesome. Versus, oh my gosh, somebody's here. I need to run and hide. So it's a shift in that mindset.
Yeah, no, that's true because they say most people watch on the replay anyway. I know that's true for
Yes.
LinkedIn. You want to be really good and be your key. It's like you are doing this as a medium that lives on and on. If they show up, great, but we're not showing up to talk to people. We're showing to broadcast our message for many times, live and recorded, and who knows where else. Great points there. The key is to get started, and easier said than done. But this whole episode and your wise advice is to help us give the simple steps and the mindset.
Yes.
I can attest, and I really try to stress to people, live streaming is so much easier than video. I'll never forget when I was doing a post like a month ago. I think it was about doing video introductions as a way on your connection request, and I was encouraging people to do it. One of my connections, she said, "Oh, I'm going to try," and I never heard from her. About a week or two later, she inboxed me and she's like, I could never get it out there. And it broke my heart because she said she did 32 takes and she just didn't feel comfortable. And I'm like, oh gosh, that just breaks my heart. Like maybe we just change the dialogue and just say, start live streaming. You won't see yourself.
Yes.
You don't have to analyze yourself. And that's the thing, because it's almost like, even when I've done video, and I don't like doing video as much as I like text and live streaming, I cringe. It's just human nature. This does take that fear out and the self-judgment we all seem to have. So live streaming is definitely the way to go. With that, I want to roll out the top 3 big takeaways that we should learn and remember for live stream video marketing.
Yeah. So these 3 are going to be super simple and very effective. And then I'll tell you kind of how to execute on these. The first one is show up. You have to show up in order for anything to happen. Second one is deliver. Deliver some value, deliver some content, something from your expertise. And then the third one is engage. You have to engage with your audience. Like we said, most people are probably going to catch your replays, so they're going to leave comments. Your job is to go back and comment as well. I always say the magic happens in the comments. That's how you get to know, like, and trust other people as well. Show up, deliver, and engage. Those are your 3 things that you need to do. And in order to make that happen, when we're talking about live streaming, you might be thinking, okay, but what do I talk about? So here are 3 actions that I want you to take with that. 1, I want you to grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, and start writing down ideas, whatever comes to mind. And then the third thing is grab your phone and start practicing going live. You don't have to actually go live. I'll give you a little pass in the beginning here. If you're not ready to hit that go live button just yet, that's okay. Use the video camera, use your camera app and just record a video to your device just to get you started. But the end goal is to get you to go live. Remember, show up, deliver, and engage.
Oh, great. I'm all about simple. And I know that's your brand, about simple. A couple of things that we didn't really get into the topics and stuff. I want to ask you that, but I just had this idea because I thought about this once. What if you had like a Facebook page? You could make live streaming private, I think, on some of these live stream platforms. Can you go in, after you've practiced on your phone? Is there a way to do live stream without going live to get used to that whole interface?
Yeah, you can, on your personal profile, you can just set the audience to only me. And you can do that as well.
Okay.
Just remember, you got to switch the audience back. I usually don't recommend that just because I want people to be public. I want them to do, because that's the whole point, is that we want to be public. And if we just practice on our phone with just the camera app, that's kind of like that just you and me type thing, me and the camera. But yes, there are options on certain platforms that will allow you to just stream to yourself. Keep in mind, you can, if it's really, really, really bad, and only if it's really, really bad, not if you think it's bad, but you go back and you watch your live stream and you see that it was really bad, you can delete.
Okay. That's good to know.
It's okay. Yes.
Good to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a safety button. And the thing about it is, though, if you practice too much, you're going to start second guessing. So give yourself a few times and then just get out there. And another thing is just live stream with a friend. I did that a couple of times. Just talk, get used to it, get used to the whole interface and all that. And then there's options. I know topics. We can quickly give me some topics, but then you can do your solo shows. You can do guest interviews, which is even to me more comfortable because you're not worried about you being the solo showcase spotlight on you. There's ways around that. But topic wise, like if someone wants to speak, what should people show up if they're doing this to grow their personal brand business? What do you suggest?
Yeah. First, look at what have you already created? you've already created something, whether it's a blog post, whether it's a podcast episode, or possibly a pre-recorded video somewhere, or you have a social media post, whether it's on your business page or your personal. You've created something that has attention, that's gotten attention, I should say, and that even if it didn't get attention, it's related to your expertise. And so start there and start using things that you're comfortable with talking about, and then start to grow from there. You can even look up things in your industry that would be applicable. Look at the places that you hang out. What questions are people asking? What posts are you reacting to? Especially on LinkedIn, there's a lot of polls going on, which are amazing. Maybe there's a poll that relates to your industry. Why not have a conversation about that live, wherever you show up? It doesn't have to be on LinkedIn.
It can be a teaching thing. It can be just conversational, inspirational, all those things. It doesn't necessarily have to be an interview. It doesn't have to be teaching. I mean, you have to have a purpose, I guess. But I like
Always
the
have
idea.
A plan.
Always have a plan. And I like the idea to find your most engaged piece, either what you like or when you're seeing other engagement on, to know that it's going to be a popular topic. That's a good way to start, make you feel, get attracted and attract the audience, hopefully. So wonderful tips. Gosh, we have learned so much. Oh, I've learned too. And I'm really excited for when we launch this show on LinkedIn Live. Before we learn how to get in touch with you, I always ask my guests, because I love learning people's insights when I ask this question, either professionally or personally. Do you have a favorite saying you tell yourself, or a mantra you believe in and you always believe and want to share with the audience?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's my three keys to success, which I shared, is show up, deliver, and engage. That's what has kept me going nonstop ever since I started my business. But even before that, when I worked a 9-to-5, I was always doing those three things. And I realized that those are the three keys to success in anything that we do. Those are really key, and they apply to everything, both personally and professionally. Those are the three things that keep me in line with being here and doing all of the work, whether I want to on certain days or not.
Yeah, that consistency will keep you in the game and win the game. So yeah, I love that simplicity. And I should have known, with your whole brand about being simple, you would have a really good, simple, but very dynamic. I love this. I'm gonna have to adopt that. I'm hoping one day to just make a huge list of all these, because you learn so much about a person when you hear what their, top mantra or saying is, and so much wisdom shared in those little nuggets. That's been great. Well, Ed, thank you so much. For those who would probably I'm sure you have tons of resources. Where can they go to learn more and get a taste of what you're doing and some of your resources?
Yeah, definitely. The best place to start is my website. So edtroxell.com. I know we'll have those in the show notes, but edtroxell.com. And really, that has my socials right there on the homepage. It has my free masterclass on content marketing, which does include live video, and of course, a chat option, so we can chat or hop on a call anytime to discuss what you might need.
That's good. So live streaming is just kind of still in its infancy. At least, Facebook, it was there maybe for fun, but here on LinkedIn, or I say here on LinkedIn because I feel like I'm on LinkedIn all the time. On LinkedIn, it's just getting started. So hop on now. I'll put in the show notes the application to apply, and go to Ed's website, and he does have wonderful videos and resources to learn a lot about it. And I know you have that program too. Ed, it's been a pleasure. You are always so kind to giving so much value, so much tips, and we've just learned it all here today. So I appreciate all your time. Thank you again. And we will be talking with you soon, okay?
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks again. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We definitely need more impactful entrepreneurs like you out there. So if you'd like to learn more about how I can help you build your personal brand to grow your business, please check out yourbrandyourbusiness.com. And until next time, you have a brand to build, a message to share, and people to impact. Now go put yourself out there and watch the business of you grow.